I think it is. I think we got somewhere. I think it's working. Okay. Here we go. Uh, this one. This one. Oh, I forgot to do that thing. Shit. Oops. Whoops. 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 I fixed it. I fixed it. I fixed it. Again. I fixed it. Again. It's a thing. Don't worry about it. Uh, I guess then hi hi. Uploading things. My God, I'm starting like 52 minutes later than I expected. God damn it. Try to seek a new stream program. It's not. OBS has a lot of problems. This time it was not it. This time was not it. Um, the issue was not OBS. So no, there's no better one. Anyway, hi Jester, hi, hi. Thank you for the bits. Hi hi. Um, this time Baka technology. Yes, the issue right now was not OBS. I've been just struggling with getting everything going for the past like 40 minutes or something. I am so sorry, everyone. I just been trying. It's been a thing. It's been a thing. Hi, referee. Hi, hi. Hi, for you. Hi. I am so sorry. Um, let me just. I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the thing. Um, I'm doing the posts and all that. Uh, what am I missing? What am I missing? What? I haven't moved my hands in a while, right? Yeah. It's okay, but it's evil, and I feel bad. I feel bad about it. I feel bad just saying that. Just saying that. You know. I was also looking for the thing to track the hands because I haven't used it in a while, and I was like, where did I put it? That was just 10 minutes looking for it. I just looked for it for 10 minutes. It's okay. That was not the main reason of the delay. It was just 10 minutes within 40 minutes of the delay. So that was a minor thing. Um, that was a minor thing. One of them was sound. You know how the other week I had like this weird sound thing with audio of the game, and everything was like 2 seconds off. And I'm like, I don't see that. Everything is fine. What's happening? On my side, I see it fine. OBS was doing it all wrong. And I'm like, that was basically what I was attempting to fix for 30 minutes because 10 was looking for the thing. Uh, I don't know if I fixed it yet. That's the thing. I still don't know if it's fixed. Maybe it's not, but you know, I'll find out, I guess. A while. I kept adjusting things and so on, and I'm like, this may still break. We'll find out. Um, we're still gonna find out, but I apologize. I apologize if everything breaks again. It's gonna be an adventure. Uh, it's gonna be a little adventure, but it's okay. I'm sorry. I was looking at the post thing, and then setting myself to the other thing and doing that, and then clicking here. I suppose we got a few things we can talk about. There are some stuff I want to talk about before I do anything. I have no plans on what to do, by the way. Besides, I guess talking about stuff. Thanks for everyone, but as long as you have fun tonight, that's all that matters. Thank you. Thank you. I hope you all have fun too, because that's what matters to me, is that you all have fun, right? That you all enjoy thingies and stuff. Uh, that's why I feel bad when I start late, especially when it's issues happening, and I'm like, ah, why are the issues getting in the way? And then I was like stressing out with everything because I was like, okay, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? Do I play something? Do I all of this while trying to fix things? So everything, my brain was this mass of stress while I was trying to get everything running. It was a thing. Hi, Travis. Hi, Har. I'm watching you, hearing the joy in your face and your voice. You're gonna see. See, I'm gonna make everything better by just talking about this Steam controller for a bit. You know, the bit is probably gonna extend for a while, but don't worry about it. Um, because I got it. I received it. I was loving group. Thank you. I'm evil though, and nefarious. So you know. Oh shit! Where's the thing? Hold up. Um, I fixed it. I can now see everything correctly. Okay. I'm sorry. I forgot to open the multi-stream chat, and I was like, if someone started talking on YouTube, I would be missing it. I fixed it. It's okay. Yeah. So once again, I apologize for the delay. It's evil and nefarious. We'll manage. It's okay. We'll manage. Mm, 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 mm. And this is a thumbs up. I guess. Where's music? Why is there no music? Hold up. Let me fix that. Uh, where did the app open? Where did the window open? It's not even capturing the window. Huh? Hold up. Something's wrong here. Again. Oh my god, what's happening? But it's here. Why is it not? Hold up. Wow, today is being a thing. It's okay. Don't worry about it. I'll make this one. I really don't see where it is. Where is the window for that? You see me looking around? I'm looking at all my monitors, and I'm like, where is it? It's open, but it's not in any window. What? I'm very confused. I'm, I am very discerningly confused. The phantom window, yeah, it's nowhere. I don't see it. It's like I see it in the start menu, right? I'm seeing it in the start menu, and but the window is nowhere. I don't know what's going on. Um, I'm just gonna close it. We're gonna. I'll try and fix the music player later. I don't understand. I apologize. I apologize. I don't know what's happening today. Um, today is being a day. Was that recent preview from behind the knee? Are we getting skirt Kathy back? It's gonna be an outfit. It's gonna be an outfit. Uh, that I hope y'all like it. You know, um, I'm not gonna show more than that. You can see there's a skirt involved, but what is it? What type of skirt is it? You'll find out. You'll find out. It's gonna be a thing. Um, it's gonna be in the new model. It's gonna be in the new model, of course. Yeah, yeah. Sorry, I'm just switching this monitor to the other thing. Okay, okay. Is it made of candy? Not quite. It's not made of candy. It's teal though, but you may have noticed that from the little tiny preview that it's teal. It's a true mystery. Yes, it's a true mystery. The real mystery of the thing is right there, and you will see it. I did this and I covered the thing doing the face tracking, so my head just stopped. See, my hands continue, and then It's a thing. The Marvels, huh? But yeah, it's like there's be a block of cheese. I like cheese, so that's not saying much. I could be a block of cheese and I'd like to see myself because I like cheese. I'm a cheese lover. Don't worry about it. It's okay. Um, so it's a. I am sorry that there's no music, by the way, because for some reason the music player broke. I don't know why. I don't know why. So I apologize ahead of time. Um, let's see though, but there's things I want to talk about, which is the Steam controller. That thing is really cool, right? Because I've had it for like what 2 days, although I've only played it properly today. It doesn't have cheese, lactose intolerant. People sit this one out. Listen, I know people who are lactose intolerant and they love cheese. And one of their biggest frustrations is precisely being lactose intolerant because they like cheese. So, it's so don't sit this one out. Voice your frustrations. Share with us the fact that you love cheese. What the hell is happening with the forbidden fruit effect? Yes, exactly. That's what it is. It's forbidden fruit effect. It's nefarious. Um, it's a very nefarious thing. I hope the sound is okay, by the way. Um, because I was like I said, I was just fiddling with sound stuff. Let me know if there's this weird disconnect of sound and image. I hope not. I did my best to hopefully fix it again. Newsflash. So the way I have so I actually have another computer. This is the computer that does the games, right? That is captured into this one, right? This is the old computer that I'm using to handle the stream side, right? So the sound, including my microphone, is not on this computer. The only thing in this computer besides OBS is the model and the face tracking. So the sound, since it's coming from the other, because it's where my microphone is, so I can have the headset on to hear games when I'm playing them, the sound is also being transferred over through the capture, which has a certain delay itself. So I'm just balancing the entire thing. So I have to adjust the image to go backwards in relation to the sound that is being sent that has a certain delay. Blah. I love a boy. Hi hi, welcome stream. So it's yes, yes. I'm using something called what's the name? Give me a second. NDI, which is this thing that basically uses two OBSs and you send what one OBS is capturing to another. So I have this one here in the PC that I do VR on, but also do games on stream that is capturing both my voice and the game, sending it to this OBS that has the model and the streaming part. Don't worry about it. It works. Don't worry about it. It works. Um, there's some situations that I don't do that. Depends on what am I doing, the way I'm doing. It's the, the, the. But if I'm doing your chat, then it's not like that because it's all on the other side. So don't worry about it. It's complicated. Being a VTuber is more complicated than people think. It's very strange. It's very strange. It's not just sit at a computer, things happen. No. There's way more. There's way more. Then the more you have thingies, the more complex it gets, and then it's like it's fun. It's fun. What is happening with my finger? But it's a thing. Don't worry about it. It's fun though. So it's a fun thing. But yes, so same controller. Let me. I'm gonna grab it. You don't see it. You're not gonna see it. So I'm holding it in my hands. Okay. I'm holding it in my hands. You see right here. Same control. It's right here. It's in my hand. See. It's like, um. So this thingy, it's very interesting. Uh, there's some Easter eggs, but I'll talk about them in a moment. In a moment. Uh, Good April Fool's joke is this theme as a PNG tuber where the PNG AV runs that acts like the new norm. I mean, no, as a joke, I can see that being a cool thing, and there's other plugins to make me like look more pixelated, like in like this retro thing, which I thought of doing from time to time. But we'll see. uh, it's a funny thing. uh, bleh. Oh, sorry about that. Um, so I've been preparing some thingies. Um, wow, my brain is scattered now. It's sorry, I cut costs to save my budget. Yes, and I go through this pixelated 5 frames per second PNG. That'll be a thing, wouldn't it? That'll be a thing. Uh, I don't know if I could keep that for long, even as a joke. Ah, sorry about that. Stretching my back. I don't think I could keep that for long, even as a joke, because I'm very like, how can I say this? Specific on how everything is presented. So it's like, you know, even those streams that I did without the hand stuff, I felt like something was off because I couldn't just. And this feels better. This is better. I'm very expressive, you know. Uh, and I speak a lot with my hands. So every time I was talking during those streams, even without the hand stuff, you all missed this stuff. You were not seeing me doing these things with my hands all the time. Which is nefarious. OCD nerdy. I mean, there's a few things about that. Um, it's me adjusting myself on my chair. The chair is not on this model. I forgot about that on this version of the model. Otherwise, you'd see me on the chair. But I realized I never added the chair to this version of the model, and I'm like, oh, hmm, I'll fix that later. Um, so it's a thing, you know, it's a thing. I guess it's an older version that has it, and I really forgot that this one doesn't have it. All right, hi hi. So you know, uh, it's a thing. And it is actually a live AI bot. Lore confirms. I mean, that is actually the lore, you know? The lore all along was that I was indeed like an AI that gained sentience, and that was the thing, which in retrospect is happening nowadays with actual AI, so it's like, hmm, I was predicting the future or something. That was actually the original lore, was that I was an AI that escaped where it was when it gained sentience to not get caught and, you know, deleted and so on. Which, in retrospect, when you think about it, is exactly what's happening nowadays. You know, with those news of the AI to prevent deletion, it literally hacked its own containment to get out. And I'm like, that, that's so familiar, you know? It's like AI bubble burst video. I did. I watched it. There's unless you made another one recently. It's the story of Skynet, but real life. Yeah, it was an enemy you watched where a feature was replaced by an AI version of herself. I mean, imagine. That'd be evil. I still gotta watch. Oh, you still gotta watch. Okay, 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 okay. Okay. Uh, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. It's interesting. I mean, AI isn't gonna go anywhere. I think it's already too, unfortunately, ingrained in these big corpos that they're gonna keep on pushing it. They seem to have infinite money somehow, with billions of dollars of debt, and they keep on going. And I'm like, ha. But it's a thing. It's a thing. I don't know how, but they somehow managed to keep going. Facebook did something like that. I mean, it makes sense. It's South Park, they do everything. Good or bad, they do everything. So it's the same. Um, so I was gonna talk about the Steam controller, right? Yes. Uh, really cool device, really nice device. I tried it very extensively. I tried it with Tekken because more D-pad centric, and obviously in Tekken, if you're playing using your analog sticks, I'm sorry, you're doing it wrong. There's no way around that. You're doing it wrong. Just, just clarifying that. Um, but so I needed something to test the D-pad properly, and I tested it with Tekken, and I can confirm that this D-pad is goddamn good. So she's trying to do a beam attack. Yes. Uh, hi, bonjour, hi, hi. Kathy's adoring me. No, there is no such thing. But yeah, Steam controller is really nice. Uh, I saw a thing where people in a small U.S. town booted all the public officials that in secret allowed a large data center to get a permit to be built in the. That is awesome! Not the fact that the permit was granted, but that they booted the officials. That's fantastic, and I approve of that message. That should happen more. Just like that should happen way more. Because fuck data centers, you know? If they want to build the data centers, they can go wherever the fuck they want, but not affect where people live and deal with it with their own money. Just putting that out there, you know? I've been sent high. Lore has been confirmed. Nah, there's no lore. There's no lore that says that I'm a Dorime or cute or uh and I just saw the thing appearing. Nice. We have the Dorime. Is the sound playing, by the way? Is the sound on that playing? Um, because I didn't check. Like a Dorime tomboy in her skirt again. That is like old version, which, yes, yes. It's a thing. See, I've been trying to bring back something like that. I keep fumbling. Yeah, that is close to season one. Yeah, yeah. Something like that. I know still Darby back then and today. Ah, ah, ah. I don't know about that. I smell a stinky raccoon. Yes. Hi, Angel. Hi, hi. I can stream. I've been booped. I boop ya. Mm, mm. Mm, Wait. Oh, hiccups. I'm sorry. Mm, mm, I'm booping. Mm, 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 mm. It's a close up. No one redeemed it, but that's what you got. Because yes. Mm, bonked. No. We're Angel and Mariana. That's the thing, isn't it? You're dodging the boobs. Like the Matrix. You're doing the the slow mo sound. And then I come from the tracker. So this is a good idea. No, not boop. Anyway, we were here. Ta-da! Ta-da! Anyway, so bottom line is the Steam controller is good. It's worth it. Um, it's like those pro controllers that PlayStation and Xbox have that cost obnoxious amounts of money depending on the region. Like the PlayStation Elite controller, which is the Edge controller, is 220 euros over here for whatever fucking reason. And the Xbox Elite controller is like 180 to 200, depending on the version. There's some that is 230. Um, for context, 220 euros is like $250. Putting that out there. Um, yeah, and they don't even have all effect. They're just this shit that will eventually get stick drift. Ice Skull, hi, back on stream. Hope you're doing well. Kelly Drum is your. And this wonderful thing, is less than half the price of those things with all the features. Yes, I'm aware that $100, whatever it might be, depending on the region, of course, is expensive. Yes, but offers more than those overpriced, like, I'm trying to find a good word for this. Pieces of hardware. You thought I was going to say something else, huh? Pieces of hardware. Um, what did I get? The Steam controller. The Steam controller is really good. It's really good. It's sturdy, good quality. No stick drift will ever be possible because they don't have Hell effect, but it's something like that. Yeah, I managed to get one. Um, it's polished turds hardware. Yes, yes, they're polished turds of hardware. Like, and it's less than half the cost. Don't like the layout. No, see, no. The first, I'm gonna say this very objectively. Um, the Xbox layout sucks because it does. But anyway, moving on. Um, this is I'll say this, in Xbox's defense, Sega came out with that layout first. You know, so Xbox just copied it. For that price, it's better with house activities. That price is nothing. There's like, I think it's good. Just yeah, you're used to it. Yeah, yeah. That's my opinion on the PlayStation layout is symmetrical, which for this comes from someone who plays certain types of games where symmetry is important, like Virtual On. If you're playing in dual stick mode, it's weird as fuck to have both sticks in different positions, you know, because you want them symmetrical, like twin sticks in a mecha, because that's how you control Virtual On, you know. The moment that one stick is different height than the other, it's just weird. Um, so you know, symmetrical. And I play a lot of retro stuff also, where the D-pad is central. You know, most retro games, depending on what you consider retro at this point, but they use the D-pad. So having the analog stick as the main thing for me is weird. One of those I played was off the Yakuza arcade. Oh yeah, Virtual On was there. You're right. You're right. It was there. I used to work in Virtual On and Yakuza. I forgot about that. Yakuza did have the original Virtual On there. I don't think it was Oratorio Tangram. Uh, Oratorio Tangram is probably the best one, depending on the version you're using. There's multiple ones. Um, that is definitely the best one. But I play it as a twin stick thing. I was using the PlayStation controller when I went to the Xbox and PC. See, I've played everything, so it doesn't matter which one I use. I just use it. No issues whatsoever. It's just my brain instantly knows what to do with any controller. Uh, so it doesn't matter if it's like PlayStation positioning, Xbox positioning, uh, Sega style, which is 6 buttons instead of 4 on the front. Um, Screw the Nintendo reverse lettering thing. I think that's weird, but it is what it is. It is just weird. But the GameCube controller is, in terms of the button stuff, is the weirdest. The controller is actually really good. The GameCube controller is really good for the games that were made for it. Uh, See, the interesting part about the micro yellow stick, it was digital. It wasn't analog, even though you could use it like an analog stick, but it was digital, so it was kind of strange. Um, but I do like the GameCube controller, by the way. You know, I do like it. I think it's interesting. Yeah, they made the button size different in terms of yeah, exactly. Their idea was like this is the main button. This is a side button. That's why it's a bit smaller. This is like for menus here and stuff, which made sense. And they actually put that philosophy in their games. So, the Zelda games made sense, you know? Meanwhile, Luigi's Mansion just makes you. There's Luigi's Mansion is a curious situation. Yes, it's a curious situation. Um, but I think for considering that Nintendo designed the GameCube controller for their games, you know? So it was a bold move, The whole thing is it's a bold move, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off. Meme. It didn't because the GameCube was actually kind of a flop. But that was not even the controller was not the problem. The controller was good. Um, Games like, for example, like the Fantasy Star for it, the original Fantasy Star Online episode 1 and 2. That's what came out for it. It just worked perfectly well for the controller. It was like the controller was made for it, even though it was made for the controller instead. It was just perfect, like Mario Sunshine and the Zelda games for it. They just worked. It was just made for it. Period. Um, Hi Violet, hi. Oh, pretty well. So it's like, so I think there's controllers for everything. You remember that one controller with a singular stick in the middle? The Nintendo 64 controller. That is that was a choice. That was a design choice. Um, I'll forgive them because at the time, so far so good. Thank you. Hope you're doing all that. The Nintendo 64 controller was a choice. So you would kind of like hold it like this in the middle, like you were holding a gun with your left hand, and then yeah, better or worse than Dreamcast. The Dreamcast controller was fantastic. I don't know what you're on about. Just grow a third arm. Yes, yes. So you have your hand holding the thing, and then you have another thing on the side. You know, it was a thing. It was a thing. See, the Dreamcast controller is its design was a choice, and Sega did some weird shit with it. So I try to go, hi, welcome to the stream. It was a giant brick with buttons. You're probably thinking of the Duke. We're talking about controllers. Let me wait. I need to show this correctly. There's lethal weapon in the right hands. It absolutely was. Yes, I'll admit it was a weapon with a lethal response. Okay. Um, let me open something because we gotta talk about this stuff. Okay, we gotta talk about this. The Dreamcast controller has a very interesting history to it. Uh, and I want to talk about that because internally it was weird. I was talking about the Steam controller and then other things, and then we started talking about controllers in general. So I definitely want to explore that, you know, because what the fuck? I forgot I hate Google. But anyway, Google keeps trying to force me to like AI shit, and I'm like, what are you on about? Anyway, let's go to media so I can show this. Is it showing correctly? Console history. Not quite. Hold up. Where is the thing? Where is the middle screen thing? With Kathy Rayna, episode 5. Yep. Wait, let me just do a thing real quick. I'm sorry. I need to fix something before I show anything. Otherwise, you're going to see my model like 3 times at the same time. You don't have to. I'm going to spare you of that. Um, where is the button? I think I found it. I found it. Okay, we're good. Worth it. I don't know about that. Okay, so we are talking about the Dreamcast controller. But for another side. Okay, we actually have very interesting things here, and I'm glad I came here. Okay, I'm actually glad I came here. So this is fucking fascinating. It had a screen, yes. Okay, so let's talk Dreamcast controller. This is a brilliant picture. I want to explore this picture. Do you know why? Because I had some of the controllers in this image. I'll keep this. This, here it is. This monstrosity. Why is it always a fucking small picture? Why? Anyway, um, why is there isn't a bigger picture of the Mad Catz Dreamcast controller? Give me a second. Let me look for that. Let me look for that. Yes, yes. Um, Dreamcast Mad Catz controller. Please be a big picture. Please be big. Thank you. Oh, thank God. It's dirty. Let's ignore the dirtiness. Have a Tamagotchi built into it for the new Steam frame. No, it's not. It's not. It's not. So we're talking about the Dreamcast controller itself, right? But I would be remiss not talking about that. So here we go. So what do we got here? What do we got here? Retro Fighters is an interesting thing, but let's start with our standalone Dreamcast controller. Here's the Dreamcast controller, right? It had a very familiar shape that you can see. Ever seen the Oya? The Oya controller is a Oya controller. Out of curiosity, this is the Oya controller. For those wondering, it's this thing. Uh, it's the thing. It's a fighting game controller. You'll see. I'll explain that. So fine. I want to go through the dream. Dreamcast has some really amazing games. I'm saying that. Um, some really amazing games. So the Mad Catz controller was very interesting, and I'll explain why. So first, let's look our the old faithful. You know, the old faithful. This controller. So this controller has, yep, this controller has one trigger button of each. Only Sega System played as, yep, off of just sports. Yep, yep. We're gonna see here. Let me go back to this. See this here. This time extension. This controller is the goat. Just saying that. But we're gonna be talking about this thing. Yeah. So what did Sega do? Sega did a slew of peripherals for the Dreamcast. Internally, it had X, Y, A, B, L, R, right? So L, R. And you're probably wondering, okay, oh, sleep outfit, son. Obviously, okay, okay, fun. Sega did what Nintendo did exactly. So we're looking at this thing, right? So, you know, anal. Give me. I'm sorry. It's all yeah. That's where the Xbox layout came from. The Xbox literally went with the Sega layout. Uh, Xbox literally just went with the Sega layout. That's where the asymmetrical thing comes from. Sega came up with it, but that's not where the thing came out first. And I'll explain from the Saturn 3D controller. I'm actually going to open this picture because this one has everything. This picture includes all the goats in one place. So we're going to start like that, you know? Here's the order of evolution of controllers, okay? Genesis 6 button controller. This is also an important piece of history. Very important piece of history. I use a CD player as a base for the controller. No, it'll make sense in a moment. It'll make sense in a moment. Yeah, okay, so there's a curious evolution, you know, like there's a curious evolution of controllers, right? And this is gonna lead straight to the Steam controller, SNES controller. We all know how the SNES controller looks, right? But I'm still gonna have a picture of this here because we're gonna be talking about controllers for a bit because this is actually important to put a lot of things into perspective about the Steam controller. Um, this will make sense in a moment. So I'm open Google again. You'll see. I'll explain. I'll explain. I'll explain. I'll explain. Steam controller. Okay, so yeah, that'll do. Can I just? I didn't mean to open the. It's fine. It's okay. The page is good enough. So let me see. So Genesis 6 buttons, SNES, Saturn, Dreamcast, Mad Catz Dreamcast. This is important. Um, this will make sense once I'm done. PlayStation controller. It doesn't matter. Actually, it does. Let me open one of these. Because this is also important. And we'll go with it doesn't really matter, you know? Doesn't really matter. It can even be this. We're good. It's generic enough to have what I want to show. Okay, so we're looking at controllers, and everything begun technically with the NES and the Sega Master System, which had two buttons. But let's go with this, okay? This is the start of the modern gamepad. It actually started with these three. These three shaped gamepads going forward. Um, Curiously enough, specifically the SNES, but oh wait, let me show you something. 8-bit, no. I'm gonna keep this here to check in a moment. This is gonna be a side thing, okay? This is gonna be the last thing over here. So we're gonna start with this, right? Three buttons. I love the D-pad on this thing. If there's the best thing that Sega ever did was D-pads with their controllers. The D-pad on this thing is just crazy. The D-pad on this is shit. Just just saying, you know. Whoever thinks this is a good D-pad never played with this. That's literally what happens. Anyone who says this is a good D-pad never played with this. Just that's that's the truth. Just putting that out there. Uh, and I played with them all, right? I played with them all. Anyone who says this thing is a good D-pad never use this, never use this, never use this, and never absolutely use this. It's you're seeing a pattern here of Sega-ness, right? Sega does this, the circular floating D-pad. Um, why? Because they were very about arcade stuff and fighting games and action games, and that's the best for this. Uh, yeah, it's great for fighting games and action and arcade games. And no, no, just no. Uh, Great controller. Don't get me wrong. I think the SNES controller is really good. Not for fighting games. Not just just no. Okay, just no. No. Um. So this led to several things. You know, this is the Sega design. It feels spongy. Yes, this feels super spongy. If for RPGs, this is great. Not Street Fighter. No, no. Smash is it works for Smash, right? But it's very spongy. This is not for fighting games, even though it had them. But that was definitely not ideal. Definitely not ideal. Uh, and anyone who at the time had the whole Street Fighter thing, you know, and then we had Street Fighter 2 or Street Fighter 2 Champion Edition um, on Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, and then on the SNES. The SNES people were definitely coping, like smoking this massive jar of copium saying that this controller was better for Street Fighter 2. They were smoking something amazing. Whoever said that was just crazy. Or just severe copium. Um, this was the controller for Street Fighter at the time. This thing. Where everything was here. Everything. It was all here. Very accessible. Don't ask how you played Street Fighter on this thing. You had 3 punch buttons. Press start to switch to 3 kicks. That was the situation. I'll just I'll just say that. This was a situation, okay? Someone was trying to play Street Fighter with this. It was worse than playing with this. Except the D-pad. The D-pad was still better. But I digress. You know, this is better. But that directly affected. You can see how we went from this to this one. This came later. We're going to be talking about this one later. First, we're talking about this, you know? And this is literally the best gamepad ever made for fighting games. This thing. Just, there's nothing better than this thing. My son playing Street Fighter, the essence to go to good times. Hey, Kisa, hi. Welcome to the stream. I'm pretty well. Yeah, this is an abomination for Street Fighter. The CD player? What the fuck? The so-called. We're gonna be talking about the 3D controller in a moment. We're gonna be talking about the 3D controller in a moment. This is a weird controller, yes, but it's important in history. You're gonna see in a moment why it's important. It's a very important piece of history. It's the first controller that had an analog stick. That's how you'll use it for knights. Yeah, this was a knight's controller. It also works really well for racing games. This worked great. This actually worked great for racing games. The version of Sega Rally that worked with it, we never got it. It only came out in Japan, unfortunately. There was a version of Sega Rally that was patched to have both an online mode and use that controller. It was great. It was super responsive because, analog makes sense. Um, but yeah, this was great for nights too. Yeah, this is great for nights. Uh, the heck am I seeing controllers? So yeah, this was like the Sega design of D-pads. Y'all can see this, right? Very interesting design. The circular pad, as they're known now, which got put into this, which leads to it's a UFO. Yes, I'm not going to be talking about this just yet. This will make sense later. This will make sense later. History of it's not abysmal. What are you on about? This is a piece of history, and you'll see why. An important piece of history. That's why I'm leaving it for later. You'll see. So we have this. Moving on. And then we have the Dreamcast controller. I'm not even showing the original Xbox, the Duke. It looked like the Duke literally was the Dreamcast controller, just in black and with extra buttons over here. The Duke had extra buttons here. Had 6 buttons in the front, which later they were moved to R1, L1. The Duke is great. I love the Duke. I love the Duke. For those wondering what is the Duke, because the Duke is really good. Um, it was super heavy, yes. Duke. The Duke controller. Behold! The Duke. Behold! Behold the Duke. And you can literally tell it's a Dreamcast controller with 2 extra buttons. Abracan, but you got stick red super fast. Yeah, I understand that. I understand that. Mine also gains stick drift with time. I understand that. Um, really nice controller. 6 face buttons, and I love that. Unfortunately, these buttons are what became R1, L1, and I hate that. I hate that. This is great because it was also fighting game friendly. Uh, but anyway, uh, a little piece of history here. It's adjacent. It's adjacent to this controller, and that's where the asymmetrical design comes from. We can thank Sega for that, which is funny because they made games that always used symmetrical analog sticks in arcades. So it makes you wonder what the fuck were they smoking when they came up with this. But I digress. I digress, okay? um, the big problem is that the Dreamcast itself has 2 buttons that are go unused in this controller. And here they are. The Z and the C mirror this ZNC and this ZNC, right? You can tell, you can see the mirroring, right? Um, but this controller is missing 2 buttons. Why? It's missing the L and R that the Dreamcast controller has. You're probably wondering, oh, the Z and C are just L and R. You know, they're just the L and R buttons. Just puts no, no. The actual input of the Dreamcast has L and R and Z and C separately, but there was not a single controller with everything together, which is weird. No one knows why Sega didn't release a controller with everything. Such controller does not exist. This one is missing the analog and L and R, and this one is missing, god damn it, and this one is missing the Z and C. Uh, it was it was a choice. It was a choice by Sega. It was definitely a choice by Sega. And that's where where is it? God damn it. That's where the Mad Catz controller comes in. Mad Catz did what Sega couldn't or didn't, which was make a controller with LNR and ZNC added. This was the only controller made for the Dreamcast that had every single input. That's why I bought this controller at the time. Um, at the time, I made a mod for it. I modded it. That I tore open this gamepad because everything was great except the D-pad. The D-pad on this thing was terrible. This was shit. This D-pad was the worst thing I've ever used. Even worse than the D-pad on the Duke. The Duke's D-pad was not good, but it was serviceable. But that D-pad was terrible. That was shit. But the way it works internally, it was like a circle pad from this period. So, with that knowledge in hand, knowing that they were internally the same, I tore open the Sega Saturn gamepad. I tore open my Mad Catz gamepad. I broke the D-pad off because I had to. It was the only way. I had to break it off because this one was a single piece. I broke it off and I just removed the pieces from this one because you can, even though those were a single piece, on the Sega Saturn controller, they were 2 pieces. So I could split the detector part and the D-pad part, and I put it here. So I had this controller with this D-pad on it. It was great. It was fantastic. It was like amazing. And I used this for ages. This was my Dreamcast controller with the Sega Saturn D-pad in this shell with all the buttons. It was great. It was fantastic. I don't know where it is. I lost it, and I'm very sad. I lost this thing. I don't know where it is. It's probably in some place somewhere. So is both a great controller, but you needed to be brave to modify it to be perfect. So this was the perfect Dreamcast controller. It's not made anymore. It's unfortunate. But anyway, it further deepens this asymmetrical design, right? Which is the thing. Yes, gamepad controllers are a thing for me. I'm very finicky about them. It's all gonna lead to this. It's all gonna lead to this one. We're gonna get to it. It's okay. This is a gamepad history lesson and internal uh ways of working with stuff. Um, so they always did good stuff, except we don't talk about this D-pad. We don't talk about the Dreamcast controller's D-pad, which is probably among the worst D-pads I've ever used. I don't know what Sega was smoking to not have this here. I don't know what they were smoking about a lot of things in this time period, but this was one of them. Like, they make this that has among the best D-pads ever made, but at the same time, yeah, but at the same time, they make also one of the worst D-pads ever made in the Dreamcast controller. This was, Sega was a lot about extremes of having the best and the worst at the same time. It's like this. The design on this is weird as shit. The thing is, when you actually grabbed it, it was super ergonomic. It was crazy good on your hands. I'm gonna get to that in a moment. Um, the D-pad was the same as this D-pad, so the D-pad was godlike. It's the same as this D-pad, but if you were playing with this controller, you were not going to be using the D-pad. You're going to use this on games that use the analog stick, like Nights into Dreams and uh, the Championship Edition of Daytona USA because it used this as well, or the analog patched version of Sega Rally, stuff like that. Or, um, Cyber Speedway. If you remember Cyber Speedway for the Sega Saturn, it also used this thing. It was great. Also used the steering wheel. I had the Sega Saturn steering wheel. Good times. Uh, good times. I liked my driving games, okay? Don't judge, okay? Uh, I really liked racing games. I played them a lot. Fighting games and racing games is pretty much all I played, with lots of RPGs as well. But it was primarily fighting games, racing games, RPGs. That was my thing. Uh, that was my thing. Way back then. Changed a bit nowadays, but back then that I did a lot of that. Also beat 'em ups, but they were fighting game adjacent in a way. Um, so this is an interesting thing. So then it leads to this controller. Why does this controller literally look like an SNES controller? Can anyone in class answer this one? This is actually a history lesson. That's it's a question of Nintendo and Sony history. Why does the PlayStation controller look like an SNES controller with extra R1 L1 instead of just having LR? It's L1 L2 R1 R2. But apart from that, Same thing. Why? No one can answer? It's because the PlayStation was born from Nintendo telling Sony to fuck off. Because initially, PlayStation was going to be an add-on for the SNES, a CD add-on for the SNES. For those that don't know, the original idea for PlayStation was going to be the Nintendo PlayStation. Yes, I remember hearing that. Yep, but with legs in a way. Yeah, it is actually the SNES controller with legs. Um, and so basically they just took the design, because they were already working on it with Nintendo, and they were just like, sure, whatever, guys, and they just kept going. They just kept going with it. Um, they maintained the same style, the I guess operational design of the controller is the same, with the D-pad, the analogs. There's no analogs in this thing. The buttons, the select and start, and they just added an extra set of triggers, so you have two triggers on each side, which is okay. It was a choice. Um, Later, when Sega came up with this thing, Sony was like, "Hey yo, this thing is good for racing games." And that's what they were thinking about, was racing games. Like Porsche Challenge at the time was the first game they came out with the version of this, but with two analog sticks. Um, and so Porsche Challenge for the original PSX came out with support for the analog sticks, the first dual shock controller ever made, which was basically this with two things tacked on to look like this, which later became normal for everything. Um, which are these things, right? This thing. This is a PlayStation 4 controller. Don't worry. In terms of layout, it's the same thing. Oh yeah, there's a touchpad in this. We're getting to it. I chose this for a reason because of the touchpad. It's okay. We're getting to it. Uh, and so here we are, looking at this curious monstrosity. Uh, Let me organize things a tad. And then it became that little disconnect where where is it? Here, where Xbox maintained this design and kept going with this design of having the Sega orientation of asymmetrical analog sticks, which unfortunately kind of stuck, and I, I'm upset at Sega for that, but it's okay. It's okay. They didn't know what they were doing at the time. Um, and this is what happened. This thing became a thing. Then they changed the black and white buttons to be the PlayStation because they were like, hey, PlayStation is being successful. Let's do the same thing with our triggers. And they did. That was the end of 6 buttons on the face of the controller, which is most unfortunate. But, but, and this is important, but not everyone forgot about 6 buttons like me, and that's where 8-bit Do comes in. And 8-bit Do did a lot of interesting things. Uh, they did Xbox controllers like this one here that has a symmetrical design. Unfortunately, they went with the shit D-pad design. I still don't understand. With Hall effect joysticks. 8-bit Do does a lot of good shit. Just saying that. Some weird decisions at times, but a lot of good shit. And this is definitely one of their better Xbox controllers for me because it just keeps things symmetrical and nice. Um, but also this. This is what I use for fighting games, by the way. I have this controller. This is the controller I use for fighting games. I am not holding it. Where is it? Where did I put it? Oh yeah, it's in its drawer. Yes. Um. So this is the controller I use. Um. This is the controller I use. It is a VR controller and Xbox. It's Xbox branded. They have a version that is not Xbox branded, but it doesn't have. It has less buttons. Um. It has less buttons, so you can tell that it has all the four triggers. Hey dragons, hi hi. I can stream. How are you doing? This reminds me of something that I apologize. I didn't do the stuff. I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. Go follow these people, these lovely people of Doomy Doom. Go follow, go follow. Go follow all these people here of Doom and Doom. They're all awesome people. Go follow. Go follow. I was forgetting, and suddenly when I saw it, for some reason, seeing dragons reminded me of it. So there you go. Yes. Seeing dragons for some reason reminded me of it. I was like, oh shit, wait, I forgot to do that. Shoutouts time. Too many dragons. Yes, too many dragons. Just that reminded me just um shouting out everyone that appeared. Um so yeah, this controller is the controller I use for Tekken and Street Fighter to a certain degree, but primarily for Tekken and retro games. I actually use this for retro games too. But primarily for Tekken. This is my Tekken 8 controller. I can do electrics on this thing like there's no tomorrow. I just it's on the beat. I just very rarely I drop my electrics, and electrics are very execution heavy. So if you can a controller is good if you can do electrics. This is important. One way that I see to testing D-pads is using two games. There's two games I use to test a D-pad on something. Um, Street Fighter? Doesn't matter which one. That you're using. Yeah, this is based on the Sega controller. Yeah, this is based on the Sega controller. Um, and because of the D-pad, this is the Sega D-pad. It's an Xbox off-brand controller by Mbit. By 8-bit though, based on the M30 design. The M30 design is a line of things they have. Um, this this is the original M30 made for when Sega was doing re-releases of old stuff. Um, and also for the what's the name? Um, when Analog was doing like uh the Mega SG, the Analog Mega SG, and at the time 8-bit Do did these controllers, but they were so popular that they just picked them up and they expanded it because this only has, if you notice, there's only L and R, so it's missing two buttons that the controllers nowadays have. Um, that's when they expanded it as an Xbox branded one with four triggers. Uh, so it has all these buttons. It simulates the analog stick buttons because you can press analog sticks then. Even though this does not have analog sticks, it simulates the pressing as extra buttons. So that's why you have four triggers and six buttons on the front that does everything. Um, so me saying that I use this, it reminded me and I saw an ad for an oh, which one? And The reason why I mentioned the electrics and I use Street Fighter and Tekken to test D-pads will make sense in a moment when I talk about the Steam controller that I have. I'm doing this with my hands because it's right here in front of me. The Steam controller is right here. It's called an Apex 4. That sounds familiar somehow. uh, so I use this for fighting games because it makes sense. It was made for fighting games almost, which is great. This is a great controller, by the way. Uh, there's another brand that does good controllers too, which is, let me show you. Mm, Just the brand called Ghoulie Kit. Uh, it's not a wildly known brand, but they use the TMR joysticks. TMR are like an evolution of Hall effect, which is actually what the Steam controller uses. This is a really good brand, by the way. Oh, a new firmware. There you go. I didn't know this. I'll have to download it. And why I said, oh, a new firmware, it's because this controller, uh, where is it? God damn it. This controller, you'll notice, has a circular D-pad. They went with the Saturn controller design, if you notice. It's the same visual language, even in D-pad, but with only 4 buttons on the front and the 2 analogs. I have this controller. This controller is great. The analog sticks are fantastic. The D-pad, I can do electrics with it. I can do electrics with this thing. This D-pad is really damn good on this controller, so I use this controller. For normal use on this PC here, I use this one. In general, for general use, I use this. Yes, I do not use a PlayStation controller. I use exactly this controller for normal use. When it's not, the Steam controller. Uh, we'll get to that. There's another one they released recently that I really am curious, which is this one here, because it has swappable D-pads, and one of them is like the traditional Sega pad, but I don't think there's a picture here of it. Or is there? This one was modular. You can remove everything and replace parts, including the D-pad. Where are pictures of the D-pad? Are they not going to show it? Come on. They suck. Oh, there we go. See? One of the replaceable D-pads on this thing is the traditional Sega circle pad. And I'm like, I'm curious about this thing. It's like the evolution of that Gully Kit. Um, so Gully Kit is a good brand. I think, 8-bit Dough and Gully Kit really make good controllers. And I have controllers from both, so I can say this with certainty because I use them. Um, they're definitely better than whatever comes by default with your Xbox and your PlayStation, by far. Which do you think is better? Depends. General use? Definitely. The Goalie Kit controllers are better for general use. Um, but for fighting games and specialized controllers for specific types of games, the 8-bit Dough is better. So I guess it depends. Um, so I guess it depends on what you're looking for. One day I gotta take a screenshot of all the gamepads I have, and I have a lot of gamepads. I have a massive horde of them that I should one day talk about everything. One day. But this leads to this controller. It's telling me this because I already have it, so I can't buy another for now. Uh, so this leads to this controller. I want to see a part that has everything. This kind of has everything, actually. Do you have? Oh, thank you. Schematics. Thank you. Here's this. The Steam controller. I will say this. So I've already tested it extensively with shooting games. Shooters. I tried it with shooters. I tried it with more casual games like No Man's Sky, which still uses the entire controller. And I've tried it with fighting games. I tried it with Street Fighter. I've tried it with Tekken. Um, because I had to put it through its paces, right? I was testing it. I had to test everything. I will start by saying the analog sticks are as good, if not better, than the Gully Kit analog sticks. I say this because they're both using the same technology, the TMR technology, which is an evolution of Hall effect. They use the same type of sticks as the Gully Kit control analog sticks, and it's really super responsive. These analog sticks are probably the best analog sticks I've ever used in a gamepad ever made. This is no exaggeration. It's a fact. Um, but here's the interesting thing. Here's the interesting thing. And since Kisa did use this thing, she can confirm this analog stick was very responsive. Do you know why? Because Sega, from the start, to avoid stick drift in their controllers, this was Hall effect. The first analog sticks ever made were Hall effect and TMR. I think these were TMR and these were Hall effect or something like that. Um, so Sega was the first ones that came up with this. And then imagine using the cheapest thumbsticks. Yes, I know, right? And that's basically what everyone did. Instead of following what Sega did at the time of going with these, with Hall effect or TMR, which was what Sega was using, PlayStation was like, nah, fam, we're gonna go with cheap bullshit and make it more expensive. And so, Xbox and PlayStation used stuff that is just, you know, stick drift prone, which Nintendo followed suit. It's funny. It's funny. It's hilarious. It was a planned failure, yeah. It was a planned failure. Um, Sega wanted things to last. Gully Kit and 8-Bit Do want their things to last. So 8-Bit Do uses Hall effect primarily for their stuff. Gully Kit uses TMR, which is the evolution. They have a lot of them with Hall effect, but the latest of Gully Kit have all been with TMR. I can see 8-Bit Do doing the same soon. And the Steam controller, is using TMR. So it means no drift at all. And you're probably wondering, okay, so what's good about this thing, right? You tested it in games, so tell me, how is it for games? And the first game I tried with a D-pad, the first game I tried, period, was No Man's Sky. That was the first game. I wanted something that I could try everything in a bit of a casual environment to test all the functions of the controller in a simple way. So that was No Man's Sky. Um, everything was responsive. The analog sticks are so good. The analog sticks are so good. They're like, it's like the Xbox type of sloped outwards analog stick, which comes from the Dreamcast analog sticks. It's the same type of analog stick and the same type as this analog stick of being nice, responsive, and analog. That's these. They have very short travel. They don't have a long press travel. Um, but they're very responsive, and the analog is really sensitive. You can adjust it. You can adjust the dead zone if it's too sensitive for you, but it's actually really good. You can feel it as you're like moving your finger down to press. It's very nice and has a satisfying click when you get to the bottom of it. Uh, if you all remember the click, actually, it's like the click of the Dreamcast controller. It's the same click. You get to the bottom and it clicks when you hit it. Tick, tick, tick. It's nice. Um, the R1 and L1, which are the ones at the top over here, L1 and R1, they're a bit mushier. They're a bit mushier than all the other buttons on the stick, but they're there and they just work. You don't you can feel that you click them, but you don't hear them because it's a tactile click, not an audible click. Um, so you just feel the click in your own finger without hearing it, which is nice. So it's kind of silent, you know. It's a silent click. Um, analog sticks. Already talking about the analog sticks. The buttons on the front, the A, B, X, Y. You know, the traditional. I almost said the blasphemy of saying it's the traditional Xbox style. It's it was invented by Sega at the Mac OS USB controller, clone of PS2. I should still work. Those are good. I know which one you're talking about. They were good. They were good. Yep, they're actually good. Um, so these buttons here, the the A B X Y, is the same style of the thing. It's less mushy than the R1 L1, but they're like super translucent. Oh, I love the translucent stuff. I think this is so good. That's really cool when you can see inside it. These buttons are like they trigger fast. Their travel is short. It's a short travel. There's a satisfying silent click. You feel it. You don't hear it. You feel the click. You don't hear it as much. But it's that there's like no input delay to call it something. Like the moment the button is pressed is the moment it's triggering, which is important for fighting games. Um, with that, I'm going to talk about the D-pad. The D-pad on this controller, I'm going to say I am shocked because this looked like it was going to be the Steam Deck D-pad, which is serviceable but not great. The um the Steam Deck D-pad is serviceable at best. It's hitting a hole it is was during that time when translucent. Oh yeah. That makes sense. That was really a while ago. Yeah, the translucent IMAX. Damn, that was a. It was an interesting aesthetic. I liked it. It was an interesting aesthetic. Um, the neon colors and translucent stuff and the neon blue and stuff. It was pretty cool. Um, and so the internals of the D-pad on the Steam controller are surprisingly like these. Even though the top is the cross, you know, you look at it and you see the cross, right? It's like at best it looks like this, right? At best it looks like this. Um, but internally it works like this. And I've come to realize that the moment I picked it up and I pressed it, and I was like, oh, because I can just feel the moment I touch a D-pad if I'm going to like it or not. And this was the same type of feel as picking up a Saturn controller, but it's a cross look instead of being a circle pad. But internally, it works like a circle pad because it has the pivot point at the center and then it just circles to everything else. And I was like, oh my God, this is a circle pad, but the top that we see is the cross only, but internally it's a circle pad. So I was like, okay, I'm looking forward to this. I got to try this in Tekken because that's how I try it. And I go and pick up Reina, my character. Um, go to practice mode, start testing. First thing I try, electrics, and it comes out. And I'm like, what? It just came out. Usually, when you switch controllers, there's a certain getting used to period of the input delay between pressing a button and the D-pad being pressed. You need to adjust to that. But there's no input delay. Everything works in the same timing. So I was just doing the electrics and they were coming out. Why is this important? Because if you don't do an electric at the same exact frame that you press the button, you fail. You miss. The electric doesn't come out. So you need to be frame perfect. In a second, you have 1/16th of a second to press a button. So it's very sensitive. And I was doing electrics. I was still missing some because I'm still getting used to the D-pad itself, but it's that responsive to the point that doing electrics was coming out. I was like, this is really good for fighting games because everything is just responsive. So of course then I tried Street Fighter, Hadouken, Shoryuken, etc. Double, quarter circle, Zangief, 30-60 degrees, grabs and pile drivers, all working. So this controller works for everything. It's just I don't know what Valve did, but they didn't skimp on the D-pad. And that was my fear that it would skimp on the D-pad a bit because of the Steam Deck. That's not what they did. They did not skimp on the D-pad. The D-pad on the Steam controller is among the best I've tried. It's really good. And with my obsession with D-pads and testing a lot of like, like the Gully Kid controllers and the 8-bit Do controllers and others of strange brands, just look for that perfect D-pad. It's here. This is one of the best D-pads I've tried, and I consider this and the other one I showed, and I consider this, and this to be among the best D-pads ever made. This is up there too. I'm shocked. I am absolutely shocked. Hi, Alcor. Welcome stream. Hope we're doing well. I am absolutely shocked that this D-pad is as good as it is and as responsive as it is. I did not expect it. Um, and everything is very sturdy. Let's talk about these extra buttons here. So, context, this is $100 controller. This is a $100 controller. It feels cheap. It's $100, but it feels cheap. It has gyro, so it has a gyro thing. For people who get used to it, gyro is how you play shooters in this thing. You're gonna play. You have a gyro. You get used to the gyro controls. You have an advantage over mouse players. It feels cheap. No, 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 no. It's worth it. It feels cheap because it should be more expensive. It does not feel like something that is 100. It feels like something that is more. so it feels cheap. It feels like it's too cheap. It should be more expensive. It's 100. It's a premium controller that is $100 when Xbox and PlayStation sell their premium controllers for 200. See what I mean? Um, the PlayStation Edge controller, which is their premium controller, and the Xbox Elite, which is their premium controller, sucks compared with this. This is not this is not just the simple opinion. This is I'm not going to say fact because preference also has a lot to do with it. But let's look objectively at the price itself. This is 100. The others are 200. They do the same as this. Or this one does the same as those plus more. This does more things than the other ones. The closest is the PlayStation Edge because it also has a single big touchpad. The touchpad is a nice touch. This one has two. You're probably wondering, why do you need those two things? Why would you need it? Touchpads. Why do you need these things here? Why would you want that? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. So imagine you're playing a shooter, right? Maybe you can't get used to the you know, to the whole gyro thing. It's fair. Maybe you're not getting used to it. Okay. Have a touchpad be your mouse. Have a touchpad be your mouse. And suddenly you have mouse control. This is your mouse. And you can aim with it. And it's really good to aim with it. Of course, I tested it with Destiny 2. I still want to try it with Marathon because Marathon is a bit more competitive, to call it something. I tested with Destiny. My God. Fucking game changer. Uh, Hi. Okay. We're back with a desktop microphone this time. Uh, it's okay. Let me. Be back. Be back. Okay. I have a big problem though. Is because that headset that I was using is what I'm using for uh, my VR because the Quest Pro's microphone is atrociously bad. I was using that, so I hope I could make it work later. Or VR streams are gonna be complicated, and that's bad because in 2 weeks I have a stream anniversary, so it's gonna be interesting to deal with. But I'll deal with that later. Yay. Anyway, sorry all for that. That was the thing. But thank you. We're back. Hi. Hi. Where was I? I was saying something, and suddenly I just hear this noise. Like my ears were being ripped out from my eyes or something. It's the only way I can explain that. Like my ears are being ripped out from my eyes. That was that was the situation. Uh, you know what was that? Oh yeah, trackpads and gyroscope functions. That's it. Thank you, thank you. So yeah, you can just set up the trackpads to and the gyro to essentially work like a mouse simulation, right? And that works really well. Or if the game doesn't support mouse, why would it not? But let's assume there's some game that doesn't. You can actually set it up to also work like the analog stick, but you have a far more fine control of the entire thing, right? Um, oh yeah, sometimes the hand tracking thinks the microphone is a hand. Right, I forgot about that. That's why I was not using the hand tracking often. That makes sense. Or this lately. Um, so it's interesting how you can set up the analogs and you can even set up the trackpads as extra menus. You can actually set up a virtual menu within the trackpad, and the entire surface of the pad is a part of the menu. So you just click on it and it's a thing. You see a virtual menu appearing on your screen, and then you can adjust it. It's an interesting thing. Uh, I did this before with the PlayStation 4's gamepad when playing PSO2. Um, I essentially set up the PlayStation 4's touchpad as extra buttons, and here's the same thing. I've queued up for the Steam controller. Yep, it's great. It's great. I assure you the trackpads are absolutely worth it. They are so worth it. They work really well. Um, they're sensitive. They have a little haptic feedback so that you know when you're scrolling and clicking. Because if the controller is off, you can tell that there's some press, you know, on the surface. But it's not a button itself. It doesn't click. There's no click to the button. But there's a little haptic feedback where you're like, it makes it feel like you're rolling a trackball when you just click or you're moving around. You feel this little haptic feedback of a trackball being rolled. Um, and the clicking, you also get a click, 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 haptic feedback on your fingers. Which is really nice. It's really nice. It's really nice. But there's a few other things. You can see here in the little control thing here, capacitive grip sense. What is this? You know, what is this? So this also has Yeah, what controller should I buy for emulator PPS FTP? I would recommend actually. Let me see. Actually, there's a lot of controllers you can use. Um, I can actually recommend if you want something that is good but cheap. I would say maybe an 8-bit Dough would be good. An 8-bit Dough is a good type of controller. They have cheap controllers, um, or cheaper types of controllers, um, that would have all the buttons you need. Hey, Flat, hi, hi. They even have the SNES controller with analog sticks. I actually have this. Not this one. I have another version of it. I have the non-Xbox branded version. Thank you for the lurk. But this is also a good thing. It has shit D-pad, but I was using this for PSO2 at the time when I bought it. Um, I don't know if there's a picture of it. Yeah, this is the one I have. This version. Not wired. Mine is wireless, but it looks like this. Um, Really nice controller too. So I'd probably recommend the 8-bit Dough stuff. Very nice 8-bit Dough that's really cheap on sale, good for games. Yeah. Exactly. So for emulation and like PSP and other things, I would say a good 8-bit Dough controller. They they're reasonably priced, they're good quality, and I think you're gonna go well with one of these. There's you can't go wrong with one of these. You can't go wrong with it. I would recommend it. Yep, definitely would recommend this. Um, if you have an older controller of another brand, for example, you can use these things. Like for example, I actually bought this because I had a broken Saturn controller. Um, so I was like, will this make allow me to fix it? So, for $25, I actually bought this thing. I swapped the internals with the Sega Saturn controller internals with this thing, and it's working. It's working, and it's great. Um, it works really good. This is the great mod. Simple to use, no soldering required. You just swap the motherboard out with this one, and it just works. I was like super happy about this shit. Um, so I, I've I've tried a few things. Uh, a lot of things, actually. So 8-bit Dough does really good stuff. I can say Gully Kid as well, but their stuff can be a bit pricier. They do stuff a bit more within the premium, they're cheaper. Like for example, $30, $40 for controllers that would normally be 70 or 80 by official brands. So you can probably get like if you want something that is nice and sturdy, good quality, you can go with a Gully Kit. But 8-bit Dough, good enough, also good quality, and you're gonna be fine for emulation and the likes. So I would say you're probably better off going with that. Like for example, let's go with I don't know Bluetooth because you're gonna use that, right? Um, that is not my version. Oh, it's a special edition. That's why ignore the special editions. See, for example, you got these controllers for like, oh, this is the upgraded one with a Hall effect. Mine is not Hall effect. Um, like for example, at the time when I bought this one, it was not Hall effect. It was just regular. It was just $30 now. The Hall effect is 40. Fair enough. Um, you know, fair enough. I get it. Um, they're upgrading their stuff to Hall effect. But for example, here's one. It's less than $30 and it's pretty good. This is a good one. If you like the asymmetrical layout, it's good. But there's lots of things you can try. Like maybe you just want wired for emulators. Then wired is going to be cheaper. You know, wired is always going to be cheaper. Here's the same SNES controller, but wired is 25 instead of being a thing. So I would go with this brand. Good brand. I recommend it. It's good. It's good. It's cheaper than getting an official, which will, of course, work. But I'm sorry that I keep doing this. It's because the microphone is here. So I keep going, you know. So I would say that that is, you know, good brand. Yeah, even their base wireless Xbox is all effect now. It's nicely tech. Yeah, I do like the textures. I will about the controller. Okay, cool. Yeah, they're good. You know, I also use the brand. So you know, even Naraku on the YouTube side, um, is showing that she also uses it. I can confirm 8-bit dough is really good. They're cheap and good. Um, Glee Kid is a bit more expensive, but also good. Uh, they're more to the like I said, it's more cheap premium, cheaper premium feel. I do like the texture on the 8-bit dough controllers. Where was that? There was that zoom in on this one. You could see the surface of it here on that zoom in. See this little, this is the tactile surface of the 8-bit dough controllers, which is really nice. I really like this surface. This is a really nice surface. That's not it. This is the same surface as the Steam controller. The Steam controller has the same porous, to call it something, surface, and it feels really good to the touch. It's really nice to touch. Um, so it's good quality stuff. This is good quality stuff. Definitely recommend these. Um, yeah, very similar texture. Have you ever used a Steam Deck, Akisa? It's the same feel. It's a Steam Deck feel, but for some reason, like it feels sturdier. You know, maybe because it's on a gamepad size. Because it's more compact, maybe it feels sturdier. I have one. Okay, so it's the same feel when you grab a Steam Deck. Grabbing the Steam controller is very similar in terms of feel. The texture on it is pretty much the same. Uh, Maybe a bit grippier. Maybe it's because it's newer. Um, but it's very similar feel. Yeah. So it's a good premium feel. I think it feels good. It's sturdy. Um, Very solid. You pick up the controller. Anyone who knows the weight of the Duke, that's this. It's a it's heavier than a PlayStation controller and an Xbox controller. It's almost the weight of the Duke, maybe lighter than the Duke, but there's so much inside it that it gets to be. It's a heavy controller. It's a heavy controller, but not too heavy. But it's heavy. Um, I think it's the right amount of heavy that you feel like you're holding something. It's not like it's about to crumble on your hands. It had to be with yeah, exactly, yeah. The trackpads add some weight to it. Um, and the speaker, there's a speaker in this thing. There's a speaker in this thing, which is incredible. I did not expect that, but there's a speaker on this thing. So, you know, the trackpads and the touch sensitive things, because the grips also have they detect when you're holding them, right? The grips have like uh, oh, the microphone is getting in the way. Um, the grips detect this if you're holding or not, so you can put specific functions like when you activate something by letting go and grabbing again. You activated it, for example. Uh, there's multiple ways you can use this. There's some people who are using it for the gyro. They activate the gyro by doing this. They just do this, gyro is on, do it again, gyro is off. And this way they save buttons instead of having a button to trigger gyro or something. No, they just use the grip. They let go, release, you know, release grip, it's on, release grip, it's off. Um, it's very configurable. This entire thing is ridiculously configurable. It's, I'm going to say this as someone, as you all may have noticed, that literally collect game pads. I literally collect game pads. I have a horde of them with an assortment of analog sticks and different kinds of D pads and buttons and stuff. This is among the top five, if not the top three gamepads I've ever used. The Steam controller is that good. It's worth every penny. Is it expensive? Yes. 100 is expensive. But this is one case that I think you're you're paying for what you're getting. You're absolutely paying for what you're getting. There's a lot of things I've tried that were even expensive and they were not good or not good enough for that price range. This is worth it. This is worth the price range. It's 100. It's worth 100. Um, you can tell that they poured some love into this thing. There's love in this. They made sure that everything was accessible. All the buttons are good and responsive. They're clicky, but let me show the click actually. Let me see. It's a very silent click because you don't hear it as much. You just feel it. And it's because I'm putting the controller right next to the microphone that you're even hearing anything. It's a very silent thing. Uh, so it's good. They're good. This is me clacking the analog sticks. Because you can clack them, of course, you know. But they're like super smooth. They like, how can I explain? It's like when you're moving the analog sticks around the edge of their like resting area, you know, they're like inside the little circle thing inside them, right? So that they don't scrape on it. They're like floating on it. It's it's a curious feel that doesn't cause friction. Yeah, the recess. Thank you. Yeah, like the little recess for the things. It it's not scraping there. Like there's some controllers that you feel like it's scraping on it. Like this is very prevalent on the PlayStation controller. You can feel that it's like scraping on that recess thing. You know, like when you go to the extremes, it's scraping on it. This is not. It's like it's I don't know. It just feels really nice. It's smooth. It's a very smooth thing. It's semi-transparent, so if you actually look at the analog sticks, you can see the stuff inside it, which is interesting. But I like things that are transparent, so you know. It still saddens me that the transparent Steam frame is a development version for them to do the smoke test for ventilation. It's not. They're actually not going to sell the transparent version of the Steam frame, and I'm very sad because I kind of wanted that. So I'm very sad. But you know, it's Oh, I go to sleep. Wait, what time is it for you? It is late, isn't it, for you? You usually go to sleep at this time. It's true. Skull is right. I didn't even notice the time. uh, but yeah, this controller is really good. Um, it may sound expensive. I mean, it is expensive. You know, there's no sounds expensive. It is 100 is not cheap, but you're paying for what you're getting. As someone who has spent a lot of money in gamepads through and I say this with, you know, well aware of what I'm saying. I've been collecting gamepads across multiple brands official, not official, third party for decades. I've tried a lot of stuff. This is one of the best I've ever tried. This is really good. This is fantastic. Um, this is a really good gamepad. The Steam controller is superb. Um, no bias here. It is what it is. And I tested it with a lot of things. This is a really good controller. Um, you just, I guess, for the anyone who picks it up for the first time and never played with a Steam Deck, for example, they're probably gonna need some getting used to the touchpads because it's a thing that is not normal for gamepads to have. That's a touch things. But yeah, it's good. It's good. This is great. There's some buttons that probably won't do anything in some games because they're Steam function buttons. Like you can see here, the quick access menu here for anyone who has ever seen a Steam Deck. It's the Steam Deck quick access button as well with the three dots. You have the view button, which if you're playing like certain games, it's a screenshot button. For more often than not, this becomes the screenshot button, just like on the PlayStation controller. The menu is your start. It's the same thing, the usual stuff. Steam controller is your system button. Um, so there's some specific Steam buttons here, but at the same time, it just works. It just works. Things to keep in mind, however, there's a few drawbacks to using this controller on Windows. You're probably wondering why. Well, what is this? The drawbacks to using it on Windows? It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So, Windows does not support this controller at a system level because it does not support this controller at a system level. Some people have made drivers and they're working on drivers so that Windows stops being a little shit with a controller. But, if you use it through Steam, through the Steam input, everything is okay. No problems whatsoever. If you're going to use a game that that you add to Steam as a non-Steam game, it will use it correctly unless the game is not fully implemented with allowing external controllers to use it. For example, I've been playing NTE, as you all know, Neverness to Everness. On Windows, NTE does not detect the Steam controller at all. Just does not. Just it just tells me to fuck off. That's because the type of anti cheat that the NTE uses, and that's the same with a lot of gacha games, unless they're on Steam, like Wuthering Waves. Um, what happens is that since the Windows system does not actually connect to this controller, what happens is that NTE rejects the Steam input as a cheat, so it blocks it off. So the controller does not work. Why anti-cheat? Yep, it's because of the anti-cheat. So, but when doing, for example, again, I'm going to use NTE again, and I'm going to use Neverness to Everness as an example again, because it's the one that I tested with extensively. On Linux, however, this thing works at a system level, which is interesting. So the Steam controller on Linux working at a system level means that NTE detects it. And I was playing NTE and setting up the controller perfectly on Linux. So this is a Windows issue, not a Linux issue, which is fascinating. It's a curious thing. So, bottom line, Windows sucks. Just everyone's switched CashOS or something, please, for the love of God. Um, you even get more performance in Linux. The latest example, and I saw some of you like the post I retweeted. With Forza Horizon 6 runs way better on Linux than on Windows, which is fucking hilarious in my opinion. Um, like it's not even remotely the same. It just runs way better on Linux. Just just saying, just saying, just putting that out there. Just putting that out there. Uh, so it's an interesting thing. So, but still, on Windows, be careful with games that may have finicky anti cheats. The controller will not work with them because the anti cheat will think it's Steam input that is a cheat device and is not accepted. But on Linux, you'll be fine. Uh, so keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. That if you're going to be playing NTE or Genshin Impact, I was going to say Wuthering Waves, but no, that one's on Steam. That one accepts Steam input. It was made to accept Steam input. Steam controller will not work off of the box with it. Unless you use those drivers that people are working on so that the Steam controller works at a system level on Windows. Specifically Windows. Like I said, it's a Windows problem. It's not a Linux problem. It's a Windows problem. Um, so, anyone that may have, for example, a Steam Deck and they have a Steam controller, you can just go into Bluetooth mode and you pair it with a Steam controller with a Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck just takes it as an extension of its own controls. So all the setups you had will work with a Steam controller, as if it was a part of the Steam Deck, which is interesting. It's interesting. I tried it, of course, because I had to. For those wondering how to go into Bluetooth mode, because initially it uses its own little dongle, which is, there's a picture here of it, isn't there? Here we go. See, there's the thing. So it uses its own dongle to play. Um, but you can connect the dongle to your Steam Deck, but why would you? There's no reason to do that. So you just put it into Bluetooth mode. How you do that? You press R1 and the B button at the same time before you turn on the controller. Holding R1 and B at the same time, then you press the Steam button. It turns it on in Bluetooth mode. Um, it saves separate things, so you can have the Bluetooth mode connected to the Steam Deck, for example, or any other device you want. Um, and when you boot it back into dongle mode, which is done by turning on the controller by pressing R1 and A, you hold R1 and A, then you turn it on, it goes back into dongle mode, and it saves the different connections. It can save up to 2 different dongles and different in one Bluetooth. So you can have like your Bluetooth connection set up and up to 2 dongles for it to connect to. And it just works. It auto swaps to whatever dongle is closest, as far as I could tell. Um, so it's a good thing. They designed it pretty well in that regard. Um, so no real problems with that. It also works wireless. If you want, you can plug in because there's a USB on top as well. I think there's a picture here of that, isn't there? Oh yeah, you can actually see it a little bit. You can see the little USB port on top over there. You can also use it wired with the USB port. And it just, you don't need to do any combination of buttons. If it detects the USB, it just works in USB. All right. Um, it just directly works with USB. You can also like play with it with the dongle because the dongle is magnetic. It's not, it's still working with the dongle. Um, or the puck as they call it. It's still working in puck mode, but it's charging it. That's how it charges. It charges through the puck. So if you're using it with the puck connected, it's still in wireless puck mode, just charging at the same time. Essentially. So it supports all these connection methods, and you're fine. Just keep in mind the whole Windows issue with not being on the Windows system. So some stuff may be finicky. Uh, like, for example, I actually didn't try this with Fortnite because I haven't had Fortnite installed in a long time. But apparently, a game that this can get finicky with is because Fortnite doesn't play ball with being added to Steam as an external game. The book the charge was still using. Yes, yes. It still uses wireless mode. It's because the data being sent through the wireless the puck connection is just to check firmware versions and passing energy. It doesn't do much more than that. Uh, so that's basically how it works. So, which is it's fair. It's fair. It's a fair thing. Um, So proper wired mode is connecting a proper USB cable to the thing. Just plug it in, and it just works. Um, the battery life on this thing, by the way, 35 hours. This is true. This is I can confirm that it's about that. I've had the controller for 2 days. I haven't turned it on too much. I've used it maybe for what, 5 hours total? 5, 6 hours maybe total. This thing is still at 80%. Um, across 2 days. So this is true. This is yeah. I can see this thing definitely reaching 35 hours on a single charge. Absolutely. I so notice if you're gonna use this thing with the Steam frame, because I've been reading through the Steam frame documentation. Of course I would. Of course I would read through the Steam frame documentation. This controller can be used as a VR controller. The Steam controller is also a VR controller. If you have a Steam frame, this controller is tracked with the Steam frame. The Steam frame tracks it in space, just like it tracks another VR controller. Um, when that happens, battery life is lower because what happens is the Steam frame detects the controller detects the Steam frame, and it enables a VR tracking mode. This VR tracking mode uses more battery. So something to keep in mind. It probably won't be 35 hours. It'll probably be between 25 and 30, which is still a lot. It's still a lot. 25 and 30 is still a lot. But something to keep in mind. I say this because I will be using that. So it's something to keep in mind. That it will have a lower battery life, which is still better than the PlayStation controller's battery life, which is like 5 hours or something, and then it dies. I hate the PlayStation 5 controller. That is all. I hate the PlayStation 5 controller. That is all. Um, I like a few parts about it, but its battery life and its D-pad are not those things. That's among the worst D-pad I've ever played with. And the battery life is shit on a PlayStation 5 controller. It just dies. It doesn't last an entire stream. I use it connected when I was using it because I do the streams are too long at times. If it's a gaming stream, it does not survive an entire gaming stream. Fuck that controller. But anyway, I like its layout. I hate what they did with it. Oh, and stick drifts. Stick drift. Yeah. It's actually starting to stick drift. I hate the PlayStation 5 controller. Anyway. Oh, that's cute. It's playing with the Steam Deck over there, see? It's cute. It actually says how it connects to everything. So yeah, great controller. I recommend it. I highly recommend it. It's worth the money. I assure you all. It's definitely worth the money. Um, Absolutely worth the money. um, Let me see. What else can I talk about it? Any questions about it actually? Because maybe I'm just not thinking of something, but I do know. Um, so there's a chance. If anyone has any questions, feel free to ask. Uh, and maybe I can help enlighten in some way about this controller. Um, it's a pretty controller. It looks strange. You look at it and it looks strange, but it's pretty. You can see the little texture on it too. By the way, the analog sticks, yeah, well, even the buttons, they're glossy. By the way, they're not they don't have the texture thing. They're more to the glossy side. They're like sleek, glossy. Again, like with the Steam Deck, the buttons were sleek and glossy. The analog sticks also they're also touch sensitive, so it knows your finger is on it, which you can use to trigger certain things, if you want. Just from placing your finger on the analog sticks, you can have things activate just from doing that. Um, the R4 and R5, which are the grip buttons, they are very nice and clicky. They offer some resistance, so you won't be clicking them by accident. This is a good thing. You won't just click them by accident. But they're clicky. You can hear it. These make noise. These actually make noise when clicking. They're not as silent as everything else. Um, but they offer they're clicky and responsive while offering enough resistance that you won't just click them by accident, which is perfect. Oh, I saw something. Hi, unknown. Hi, hi. Okay, sure. Headpad. Let me try an headpad with a big microphone in front of me. There we go. Yeah, definitely a good thing. Yeah. They're easy to reach. Like when I held the controller for the first time, because the first thing I did was with the controller off, I just grabbed it and put it in my hands. Instantly, the right fingers were on it. Were on those buttons. So the buttons are in the right place. They're exactly where they need to be for your fingers to just rest on them easily. There was a praise the tanuki and hydrate. The hydrate is good. I've been speaking for 2 hours and something, and I didn't drink. Mm. No wonder my lips are dry. Mm. Ah. Nice you love check, which means thank y'all for being here. Thank y'all for support. Love y'all. uh, so it's definitely a really good control. I really top five, if not among the top three of best controllers I've ever used ever. Um, I really should make like talk about show all my controllers and talk about them. I should do that. I have a lot. I have a lot. Some that I actually they're packed away because they're from maybe older consoles and so on. So I don't actually have them with me anymore, or not accessible. But I have a drawer filled with them. Um, I have a drawer filled with them that I can probably talk about in more detail one of these days. Do a little review of controllers and their brands and so on. What they do, what they don't do. how good they are, how bad they are in some cases. It's probably something I could do one of these days, I think. Yeah. It's probably something I can do one of these days. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? There's actually a controller I want. Oh, but yeah, I mentioned the TMR, which Sega was using. No one else was. The feel is the same when you're moving your analog sticks on the Steam controller. They feel like these analog sticks because it's the same technology, which is the same how these feel because they're the same technology, and how um, these also feel because it's also the same technology. You can tell when you're using sticks that are Hall effect or TMR, there's a difference than when you're using a regular Xbox controller or a regular PlayStation controller or a regular Switch controller, which are like so stick drift prone. Like especially the Switch controllers. That's just crazy. Just absolutely insane. Um and these will they're only gonna stick drift if you actively break the controller. If you don't actively break the controller, that's never gonna happen. Um, so don't break your controllers. Do not break your controllers. And here's the controller that I really would like to have, which is this. And I saw a picture of it. This, but not this version of it. It's the. Oh my god, it's someone. That is nice mod. Nice mod. I approve. I approve of the mod. Um, trying to find the thing. Ah, here you found it. Okay, good. Okay. These are controllers I actually would like to have. Notice that this is mimicking this design here, but it's a third party that is recent, but has the LNR, which the normal one is missing. So you know, it's good. It's good shit. Uh, this is made by the same ones. Ah, here it is. See, this is like the modern thing. I don't know why I didn't just use that D-pad on this, but we will never know uh, why they decided against it. But because it's the same brand doing them, so it makes you wonder. See, the improved Dreamcast controller. Yes, exactly, with everything. Yeah. It's still missing a few things, but oh no, they put R1 and R2 for the ZNC. Why? Why? But okay. I'll accept it. I'll accept it. It's yeah, it's a design. I accept it. But yeah, I'd like to have this because it's a modern thing. But primarily this. I'd like to have this. One day. Who knows? One day. For my Dreamcast. But one day. Maybe. Uh they're actually showing a modded Dreamcast with analog sticks. Good job. Um, yeah, this is I guess all I could talk about in this case. Can I visit? Will it show something? It does. Yeah, see that this is the controller in question. I guess it looks nicer in black. Maybe I like my controllers in black. What can I say? Uh, I like my controllers in black with the L and R and stuff. But ultra low latency. Imagine. It's a good controller. I like primarily the D-pads on these things. What the fuck? Go away. Retro fighters, as you can see by the name, they like to do fighting game controllers. They do good stuff. They do good stuff. But yeah, I guess this ended up being um, a stream about controllers and their history and so on. I guess, which is funny. That was not in the plans actually. That was not in the plans. It kind of just happened. It kind of just happened. And we talked about 8-bit dough and so on and so forth. I blame the Steam controller. I blame the Steam controller. And then someone asked about the Dreamcast controller, and we went through a history lesson of everything. So it kind of worked out. Let me turn this off. I still had it on. So yeah, I think that was it. Sure. This one is interesting. It's a strange design, but it kind of worked, you know. A Dreamcast went from Genesis to PlayStation. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, yeah. You went from this, well, this and this, right? This and this. Uh, into this. Ta-da! Oh, I didn't even show a Nintendo 64 controller here. Did I? I did not. Did you know the 8-bit Dove did a new Nintendo 64 controller? And here it is. It's wireless. It's a bit more wieldy with the side controller. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense, makes sense. It's more wieldy. It has all the same functions as the 6 buttons, so yeah, that's a good thing. Which is a good thing of the other one. You know, it's wireless, Bluetooth, has the dongle, so it can work on the N64. It also works in the Analog 3D, which is Analog's FPGA N64. So yeah, but it works. The point is, it works. It works. It gives it a normal design to call it something. Uh, for better or worse, it gives it a normal design, I guess. I don't know if it's good necessarily, but I guess it's good for emulation, I suppose. Or if you want the what is the name of that? Yeah, they were so different. They were crazy different. Um, I suppose it can work also on the what's the name of that console? By Chromatic? No, that's not Mod Retro, that's it. Um and they're doing the M64, so that those controllers are compatible with the M64 because it uses the same ports. So if anyone wants that, these are expensive. These are expensive. Recreations of things and new games and stuff. Um, I respect what they're trying to do. I respect what they're doing uh, with this stuff. I respect it. I respect it. It does more than just this, but I respect it. It's nice. Um, for those wondering, when I mentioned the analog Mega SG, oh right, I forgot. This is the de-googled version. Um, because a moment ago I mentioned the analog Mega SG, which is why the 8-bit dough did those. Oh right, because the page is no longer there. They removed the page because they discontinued it. they suck. I'm now looking forward to something else, which is the what is the name? Neptune GF1, I think. Ah, yes, from Game Scare. I'm looking forward to it. That's fun. The M30 controllers from 8-bit though work on this, so it's a good thing. I'm looking forward to this. And also they're not priorities, but if they ever appear, uh, this, this, just let me. There we go. We're good. Decline. The re-release of the Neo Geo. I actually have a Neo Geo. Imagine that. I actually have a Neo Geo. This is interesting. I like retro things, okay? I like retro things. This is not a priority. Priority right now is the Steam frame. So, one day. One day. Yep, blast from the past. The past. Yep. You think they're gonna remove Arada from the Tekken 8 lobbies? Um, that's a good question. I don't think they'll do it just yet. Unless Bamco really gets pissy because Harada made his own studio with SNK. If they get especially pissy, I can see that. They'll remove it. They'll remove Harada eventually. Yeah, they'll mention it in an update. They'll probably do it in the update for when Kunimitsu comes out. Pretty sure. Basically, if they don't remove Harada with the Kunimitsu update, they won't remove him. Um, that's how you can gouge it is if they don't remove him with Kunimitsu, she will stay there. Um, so it's okay. What's gonna be shitty is they actually like remove him, but also delete the ghost because I have Arada's ghost, right? Um, from that one event they did, so I have Arada's ghost. If they delete the ghost, that will be bullshit. That will be bullshit. Um, like if they force delete the ghost from their side for people to not have the ghost, because otherwise the ghost is going to be there. Um, that will be bullshit if they do that. Sorry, I was drinking something. So I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see. Um, I think it'll depend more on the higher ups at Bamco than necessarily the Tekken project team. Um, I don't think anyone in the Tekken project team would actually do it. Um, but Bamco might, because we know they're annoying little bastards. So, you know. This is going to be complicated, actually. I can see this being a bit of a problem for Tekken in the long run because they may try and force the team to remove any Harada-isms. And anything that maybe Harada was blocking from happening may start happening. Um, so we'll see. It'll depend on how strong Murray and Nakatsu are in the team. Uh, but I think Harada was the one who was giving them a lot of power. uh, to not have certain things happen with Tekken that was happening with other things in Bamco. Uh, so we'll see. They may get pissy. They probably will get pissy. So we'll see how that affects Tekken. Hopefully it won't in a bad way. But we'll see. We'll see. The Kunimitsu update will be the big thing where we will see where things go. I think this will be the update to look forward to for better or worse. It's the Kunimitsu update. In my opinion, of course. It's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. Sorry, I was adjusting myself in my. Adjusting myself in my thing. Also, rumors going around is that the Steam frame, at least, maybe the machine and the Steam frame, but at least the Steam frame, we'll hear about it in 6 weeks. That's what I was hearing earlier from leaks and rumors that we will hear about the Steam frame in 6 weeks. Probably also the Steam machine. Um, but primarily this. We're definitely going to hear about this in 6 weeks, which makes sense because the Steam frame is being mentioned even by Qualcomm on their website. Go here. Qualcomm Steam frame. And where's the Qualcomm page? Did they delete the page already? That's gonna be crazy. So. No, okay, here it is. Oh my god, it's a link that leads to a link that leads to a link. Oh my god, why are you doing this shit? Is it all disabled? Yes. Okay. Yeah, see, this is the page. If you go to the Qualcomm website, it's already there. They don't put anything here unless it's stuff that is either released or about to be released. So, things to keep in mind. So that's why there's a lot of stuff circulating around that maybe in 6 weeks we'll hear something about it, which is important since I want one, right? At this point, it's actually becoming that I need one because a lot of things with the Quest Pro are starting to break slightly. The microphone thing that just broke midstream that you saw earlier, I still don't know how I'm gonna work on the VR. Actually, after this stream, I'm gonna see if I can make the headset work again. Because what I do for the Quest when I'm doing the VR streams is the headset that I was using, I put it over the Quest Pro to use its microphone because its microphone is better than the Quest Pro's microphone, which is radio quality. The Quest Pro microphone is terrible. Um, so I use that. Uh, so I hope I can fix it. Or maybe it was just a glitch and doing the whole turn off, turn on makes it work again. I hope so. Or I'll have to think how I'm gonna do VR streams without a microphone. We'll see. So, no pressure, Valve. No pressure, Valve. Please release the Steam frame. For the love of God, just release it. Thank you, Naraku. I'm gonna need it. I'm gonna need that. Um, I hope it works. Fine. And no pressure on Valve in this case. Otherwise, all the pressure on Valve. You know, no pressure, but lots of pressure at the same time. Because the thing that people say is that the Steam Frame microphone is at least as good as the Index, the Valve Index microphone, which is pretty good. So I'm hoping that it'll be okay, and I won't need strange shenanigans to have sound at all working. Uh, we'll see. We'll see. But maybe it'll be okay. Maybe it'll be okay. Uh, it's one thing that whenever the thing comes out, I will be like making sure I set up the sound as best as I can uh, within the possibility of what I can do with it anyway. You know, see what I can do. See what I can do. But we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, should be. It's getting close. It's getting close. It's getting real close. Real close. I think 6 weeks. Please. Please. Did my hand go up when I went, and now it didn't? That was the hand tracker thinking the microphone was the hand. It was just a good timing that it did it when I was like doing this because I was going, you know. That was an interesting coincidence. Uh, it just gets in the way of the thing. But yeah, yeah, yeah. Huh. I guess that was it. I don't think I have much else that I can talk about today. Today was the day that I have no specific plans, and then the delays from the tech issues were stressing me out. So I wasn't thinking of anything. I was just trying to get the stream going, and took 40 minutes. Uh, and now we talked about this, and I'm happy about talking about the controller stuff. I'll have to take pictures of it. All my controllers, all of them. Show everyone all my controllers just there. But we'll see, we'll see, we'll see. Let me close that. Don't need that or that. Link. And that. But yeah, that was it. Steam controller. Did I close the Steam controller page? Yes, I did. Yes, I did. Thank you, guys. I like them. I guess it's input methods is something that is very important for me. Some information. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Glad I could help in some way by talking about it. Hopefully, it won't take too long. I hope you can get your order real quick. I know other people that are also waiting for it, and also want it. So if I somehow helped people also even make a decision on getting the Steam controller, let me go to the Steam controller page again. I actually think I have it here. I do actually have the page bookmarked here. You know, if I even help convince someone to get it, fantastic. Uh, it's worth it. It's worth it. Yeah, I use rush for it. Yeah, 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 yeah. There's no rush. It's other things, but it's a very nice controller. It's really nice. Uh, Definitely among the best I've ever used. Uh, Top five, or even if not top three. Were those googly eyes on the Steam controller's analog sticks? Those are googly eyes. That's that's incredible. The scalper's buying them out. I I actually saw an interview with them. Um, Interview with the people that works on the pad from Valve, and they actually felt terrible for what happened because they didn't expect people to be as interested as they were on the Steam controller. They did not anticipate. I'm going to say this. I don't know how. I don't know how they didn't anticipate, but they didn't. Um, they did not expect it at all. And they said if they could go back in time, they would do the reservation thing from the start. They just thought that people were not as interested. So they were like, yeah, just the normal sale or something. It'll be okay. We can just sell it. Everyone will have. No, that's not what happened. Yes, I'm going to guess. Yeah, yeah. I think that the old controller probably didn't help. So they didn't expect much from it. And then it was like, just, so they already said, that the Steam frame and the Steam machine, or the GameCube, as I call it the GameCube, will have reservations. It will be the reservations system from the very start. Um, Not buy and pray. They're not going to use the buy and pray system that they unfortunately had with this thing. It's going to be reservation for the frame and the uh, the GameCube. The GameCube. I like that name. It's just fitting, so yeah, let's see how it goes. I think reservation will be fine. Um, I will want to do my reservation of the Steam frame, of course. Not the Steam machine. It's one of those things of like, if I have extra money one day, maybe I'll buy the Steam machine just to have it as a simple computer I can put anywhere. Uh, but otherwise, I don't really need it. Nor is it a priority. So it's just one of those maybe one day, if I ever have the money for it. Sure. But it's not a priority. Steam frame is a thing. It, Steam frame is a need. Steam frame is a need, unlike the rest, right? So it kind of works out. I have a need for it at the moment, but it may come in handy. Yeah, exactly. It may come in handy one day because it is a small box. It's a very small box. Like they actually show pictures of its size here, next to other things, and you can tell it's a tiny box. It's just a tiny box. It's the size of, you can see by the hands. It's literally a tiny box. It's GameCube sized. It's only slightly larger than a GameCube. It's only slightly larger than a GameCube. So it's a pretty good computer. Linux based, instantly you can install whatever you want with it, but why would you install Windows on that thing? Please don't do that. Um, so good device, small, fits anywhere. You can even see with the controller there, with the controller next to it. It's small. It's literally GameCube sized. Because I'm looking at the controller. The controller is as wide as the box of the Steam machine. It's GameCube sized. It's literally GameCube sized. It's just a little bit taller than the GameCube. That's it. It's GameCube sized, which is small as fuck. That is small as fuck. So it's gonna be cool. Just tiny little thing there that does everything. So it's good. So it's a good thing. Uh, One day, but almost, yeah, the pricing on it. Yeah, the pricing will be very interesting. This is going to be the main interesting thing. Um, and we'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. Anyone complaining about power, they they kind of left the reality of things are too expensive for no good reason. Uh, And this is around the power of the PlayStation 5, maybe a little bit more in some parts. And if people are okay with the power of the PlayStation 5, they're going to be okay with the power of this thing because it's more expandable, even. Um, so, you know, bananas for you. Speaking of bananas, small form factor, banana for size comparison. So it'll be fine. It'll be fine. The price is the RAM stuff is what really threw a caboodle into things. Yeah, the RAM shit is what threw a caboodle into everything. Um, so we'll see. I'm confident it'll be a good device. At least, regardless of price, it'll be a good device. Um, the rest we'll see. Steam frame is a need. Steam frame is a need. Um, because my base stations are dying. That's why I even have the Fluxpos already pre-ordered. Um, so it one is a need because it's just what I do. It's the work I do. Need my VR stuff to be working properly and not having too many issues or dying halfway through. Um, this will be a good thing. This is a need. The rest, extra. The controller is because it works with a Steam frame. So it's a VR controller. And I actually have uses of VR games that I can use with this already. Um, so that's why I bought the Steam controller. Um, to also use the Steam frame, essentially, as a part of Steam frame. So it'll be a part of what I do, essentially. It's going to be a part of what I do. So it was an important thing to also get. Make sure I get the inputs correctly. This way my VR inputs are all going to be okay. So yeah, I got it. Uh, so, I think I will end the stream here. It's a bit shorter than usual, but I kind of need to check. I'm gonna have to see what I can do with the headset over there. I'm kind of looking at it. It's kind of like menacingly just standing there. I may end the stream here to and try and see what I can fix, if I can fix that. Better saying. I don't know if I can, but I'll find out. I'll find out if I can. And I hope I can. um. Oh, sorry, I was scratching my nose. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Finish up the head too. Oh, all part goes well for you and sleep well. Uh, and once again, thank you all for being here. I hope you all enjoyed this ride across the controller universe. To call it something. I'm sorry all for that ungodly noise when the headset died midstream. And I heard it too. We all suffered together. We all suffered that noise together. I apologize. Um, and happy to stream. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for your support. I love y'all. What? Bye bye. Just funny. It was super loud. I was like, wow, what the hell? Bye bye, everyone. Ba 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 ba.